a man in leadership that has ever struggled with salary negotiations? Have you? I want to share with you that salary negotiations do not have to be as complicated as you think they should be. In this video, I'm going to share with you over 20 years worth of experience as a C-suite executive, as a manager, and as a director to help you leaders, to go to that next level and feel more comfortable negotiating your salary. Now, in terms of who I specifically work with, I specifically work with women in leadership in terms of my client base. However, I have men in leadership that are on my YouTube channel in addition to women in leadership. And so I want to be able to help everyone with this very, very important topic. Salary negotiations can be scary. And I found that this is probably one of the areas that people struggle with as a whole. And women struggle with this area also. Specifically, sometimes when we're going into roles that have been in positions that are predominantly occupied by men, our salary expectations are not necessarily being met. And so I want to share with you just some very good strategies that you want to watch until the end of this video to help you be able to negotiate a higher salary. I want to preface this by saying I have several resources here on this channel that will help you with this. First resource is a salary negotiation video that I have. It is on my recorded videos. I did not put it in the description, but I will when I finish it with the live today. But this is a great video for you to watch as it relates to being able to negotiate your salary. The second is a salary negotiation masterclass that I specifically have on my website, and that is listed in the description below. It is a masterclass that will absolutely help you to be able to negotiate a higher salary. I walk through the framework that I give to my clients to help them negotiate higher salaries, and it will also give you some secrets I'm sharing with you that will help you to get a higher salary. Now, in this video, you are watching the live. So if you happen to be watching this portion of the video, you're watching the replay. And I appreciate you so much for spending some time with me today. There's typically a point in time in the lives where people will start to join us. And I want to ask your patience for just a few moments. I need to be able to communicate with everyone and say hello. And we're going to jump right into some strategies to help you negotiate a higher salary. And I'm going to ask and answer any questions you have about this topic because this topic is personal to me. I'm very aggressive when it comes to salary negotiations. And it didn't just happen overnight. I had a bad experience, and that's what happened and why I'm so very important about this right now. All right, so let me say hello. We have SSNT1. Hello, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. We have Lynix, LYNIXX. Hello. We hope you're doing well today. Stray Kids 2018. Hello, welcome. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today. And let me know if you have questions about salary negotiations. If you ever wanted to get a higher salary and make more money, this is the video for you today. I'm going to share with you some strategies that will help you to be able to get a higher salary when you are negotiating as a leader. So you can do it just like an executive. So if this sounds good to you, you absolutely want to subscribe to this channel because I talk about executive higher level communication skills all the time. Now, if you have questions specifically, let me know as it relates to salary negotiations. Don't be afraid. Just ask me. Take my over 20 years of experience as a C-suite executive, as a manager, and as a director to help you get a higher salary. That is my role. That's what I'm here to do, is to support you in that journey. All right, so Stray Kids 2018. I'm joining from Colorado. Well, welcome Stray Kids 2018. I am joining you from the Sunshine State of Florida. So let me know where you all are joining from and what questions you have. So I'm going to start with saying one of the challenges that people experience when they are trying to negotiate a salary is that they are just not quite sure where they should be. Now, in the YouTube video I mentioned earlier, and for those of you who just joined, I have 2 resources to help you be able to negotiate a higher salary a bit more than I can do here in this live. One is a class, well, somewhat of a class, I would say. On my YouTube channel, it's a pre-recorded video that talks about negotiate your salary like a boss. And to check out that video, I talk about a couple of numbers you need to have when you're going into your salary negotiations because this is very important. Definitely watch that video. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on those specifically, but I'm going to highlight them very briefly. There's also a masterclass that I have on my website that is linked in the description below. It is a masterclass that I hosted that only talks about salary negotiation. That's it. And so if you really are trying to get a higher salary and maybe have been struggling with this topic, you definitely want to check out the masterclass. It is on my website. It's a great resource for you also. Now, what happens, as I mentioned, is sometimes people don't know where they are or where they should be in their salaries. And oftentimes this comes up because we are just afraid. We are afraid of asking for a higher salary. Sometimes we just don't know our numbers. And I talk about this in my YouTube video. We don't know our numbers. We have no idea what the numbers are. How much do we really need to survive, take care of our families, go to work, and etc. We just don't know. And so taking a few moments before you go into your interview to ask those questions in terms of how can you negotiate a higher salary or what do you need to survive cost-wise will help you tremendously if you are trying to get a higher salary. You have to know your numbers. And I talk about this in my YouTube video. And for those who are joining, I appreciate you being here. Let me know where you're joining from today. And if you have questions as it relates to salary negotiation, I know people struggle with this topic and I'm here to help you not struggle with it anymore. So know your numbers. Figure out what it is that you specifically need to take care of your family, your numbers. I'm gonna give you a teaser of my video on my YouTube channel that talks about negotiate your salary like a boss. You have to know there's 3 tiers of numbers you have to know. You have to know your bare minimum, your ideal, and that special number where you really want to be. So check out my video, but these are numbers you need to know. So calculate, first of all, what do you need to live? Literally, your bills, food, your kids, or people you care for, or your spouse. You need to know those numbers. So get those numbers together, take some time, get a pen, get a paper, and write down every bill that you have to take care of in a month. Calculate them up and determine this is how much I need to have. Now, if you live here in the United States, and I'm sure in other countries too, we pay taxes, right? We pay taxes, unfortunately. But fortunately, I guess in some cases. However, taxes, you have to factor those in too. So get a sense of, okay, this is about how much my taxes will be. So when you are going into your job and you're negotiating your salary, you know exactly what you need. And if they tell you a number, let's say they say $100,000 is what they can give you, and you know you need 150, well, leader, that may not be the opportunity for you unless there is some type of opportunity for you to get a commission, which sometimes it is okay to be in those situations. I always advocate for my clients to negotiate higher. When you negotiate low, it will keep you low. And this actually, believe it or not, will impact your entire professional career. I'm going to share with you a story in terms of what happened to a client of mine in this particular scenario, and I'll share with you what happened. I had a client of mine that was at a point in her career where she was just working through a couple of things, and she found herself, she was actually at the time, she was about $75,000 in terms of the income that she was making. She really, really, truly wanted to get to 6 figures. And what happened is when she would go into salary negotiations, they would ask her the famous question that everybody asks you. Do you know what it is? The question specifically is, what do you want as a salary for this job? Or what are your salary expectations? And she would always answer, I don't know. What are you offering? That is not what you want to do, leaders. You don't want to do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. That is the fastest way for you to keep yourself lower at the salary level. Now, before I go into what happened to my client, let me ask you all a question really quickly. So give me just a second. As many of you know, I am doing a few things here live, and I want to ask you all a question really quickly for those of you who are joining. Give me just a moment. Okay, so for those of you who are watching, you can see this here. And for some reason on the lives, it will not, well, actually for this live, it's actually not letting me post my question today. It just says something went wrong. Please try again. Okay, well, no problem. We're gonna go ahead and skip that today. I'll have to ask YouTube about that. So anyways, the question I have is, have any of you ever regretted accepting a salary? Let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna show my hand first. I have regretted accepting a salary many years ago, which is the reason why I'm incredibly aggressive with salary negotiations, or have been in the past. And I will, if I have some time with you today, I will actually share that information with you. So before I go into what happened to my client, let me see what's going on in the chat. I have Bacon Noobs Edits. Hello, welcome, welcome. How you doing today? Bacon Noobs Edit asks, what is this live about? We are talking about salary negotiations. Friend, we're talking about how to negotiate your salary like an executive. So if you're interested in trying to make more money when you go into your salary negotiation, then this is the place you want to be. And ask me any questions, because I will share with you over 20 years worth of expertise as a C-suite executive, as a manager and a director who is very aggressive with salary negotiation to help you get more money. So hope that answers your question. Let me know where you're joining from today. Now, what happened to my client? So as I mentioned, and thank you for the smiley face emojis, I appreciate them. I asked, what happened to my client specifically? Well, my client, as I mentioned, she was at the $75,000 range in terms of what she was making. And every time she went into a salary negotiation, they would ask her the famous question that everybody dreads, but we all need to get paid. The question she was asked is, what do you want to have as your salary? And she would always say, I don't know. I don't know. What are you offering? I'm sharing with you right now that most hiring managers, and I say most, and I mean that because I've been a hiring manager, but I was not like this. I always tried to give people more money than they asked for. That's just me. I'm just a giving person like that. But majority of managers, no, they're trying to follow budgets, and they may not necessarily do that. But there's a few of us that do. But most of the time, they are going to try to pay you the minimum amount they can actually pay you for the role that you're in. This is the reason why you will never be paid what you are worth if you're working for someone else. And that's just the reality of it. Not all the time, but many of the times this is the case, unless you find great bosses that you work for that really are trying to support you and just help you out any way that they can. Now, what happened is when she would ask that question, the manager would just tell her a salary, and that salary would be less than what she wanted, and then she would accept it, and then she would contact me and say, Dr. Jacinta, I can't believe I accepted this salary. It's only $80,000. And I said, client, okay, let's make sure we work on that, because the more you accept lower salaries, or that salaries that do not give you a big jump, you're going to be stuck at this particular salary cap forever. Now, before I go into the next strategy, I want to say hello to Limitless Gary Bravo. Welcome, welcome. How you doing today? Let me know where you're joining from in this big, beautiful world. So I told you that you have to know your numbers in terms of negotiating your salary like an executive. You need to know your numbers first, how much exactly, specifically it is that you need to survive and to live. And if you're at a place that is not offering you that, then you need to look for another place. That's just it. You need to look for another opportunity. The second strategy is to become comfortable saying your number. Many people struggle with salary negotiations. Why? Because we are having to articulate and to say something that we feel a bit not confident about saying. So why is that? From an executive coaching standpoint, why do you not feel confident about saying the salary that you want to have? Think about it. Write it down. Put it in the comments below if you feel comfortable doing that. But there's a reason why you don't feel comfortable saying it. So if we were in a one-on-one coaching setting, my role as your executive coach would be to find out, why do you not feel comfortable talking about your salary, and how can I help you to overcome that so that you feel more comfortable talking about your salary? That is my role, and that's what I do with my clients. So if you're a woman in leadership, then feel free to contact me. I'll support you, and just contact me for a strategy session listed in the description below. And let's talk about where you are and where you want to be. So we have to figure out why. Why do you not feel comfortable talking about your salary? What is it? Do you feel like you're not worth it? Do you feel like maybe it's too high for you? There's something. There's a reason why you don't feel comfortable negotiating. So think about it. and let me know what you think that is. Now, once we determine what it is and what salary you want to have, let's say you want to have a salary that's $200,000, depending on the role you're applying for. Maybe it's 300, maybe it's 150,000. It just varies. You have to practice saying this number. What I found is that most of the time when people are talking about their salary, they have the number. They know what number they want to have, they want to say. But there's something that happens between here and here where it doesn't come out like it's supposed to, because you have to practice it. If it's something in salary negotiations is something that you struggle with, one, contact me. I will help you to not struggle with this again. But if it's something that you're struggling with, then you sometimes may not feel comfortable saying it, and you may just freeze up a bit and not say anything at all. I don't want you to do that. Practice saying that number. If that number is 180,000, if it's 150,000, if it's 200,000, if it's 300,000, if it's 350,000, if it's 400,000, depending on your role, you need to practice saying it. Practice saying the salary that you want, so that when you have that conversation with the hiring manager or your direct report, then you feel comfortable saying, I'm looking for something in the range of this and this. Now, I tell my one-on-one clients this strategy, and this is something that I'm sharing with you because I want you all to do really well, even if you are not working with me directly. What I tell my one-on-one clients is that when you're going into a salary negotiation, when they ask you that famous question, what are you looking for as it relates to this salary? I want you to ask a question back. Don't answer it. Don't say, oh, I'm looking for 150, 180, $200,000. Please don't say that. Don't say that. Why? Why should you not say that? Do you want to know? The reason you shouldn't say it is because you are going to box yourself in to a box. And this is the salary box I'm making right now. And if you tell the hiring manager that you want to be at this salary here inside the box, and they are actually offering outside of the box in the space here, then you have just boxed yourself in to this salary. And more than likely, you're not going to leave that job within the next 60 days. So you're putting yourself at a limit already. And this is what I want you to try not to do. So instead of saying what you want to say in terms of them asking you, what salary do you want to have for this position? Instead of saying, oh, I want a salary of this, or I want a salary of $250,000. That's what I'm really looking for. Instead of that, say this. What salary range is acceptable here? Or you could say, what salary range is appropriate, is offered for someone with my level of expertise? As I've mentioned, and you've probably heard me say this several times on my channel, the way you say and what you say truly do matter. And if you think it doesn't, then you are going to struggle in different aspects of your career. So say it as expertise. Position yourself as an expert, as the leader, as the person that they absolutely want to have in their organization. The best way for you to do this is to start saying you are an expert. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, as a woman in leadership, or as a man in leadership in this case, I don't feel like I'm an expert. I'm not an expert in anything. There's nothing I'm an expert in. I want to challenge you to think of things a bit differently. You are an expert in something. There is something about your life, about your skills that you have that many people do not have. I do not know what that is, but I know there's got to be something very special and very unique about you. Let's figure it out. So position yourself as an expert. So ask, what salary range is offered for someone with my level of expertise? So you're giving the question back to the interviewer. It's almost, and I've said this a couple times, it's like playing a game of catch, or playing a game where you're throwing the ball back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're playing tennis, however you want to describe the analogy. But you're giving the question back to the actual hiring manager. Why? Because you want to see what they say. So it can go either one or two ways, leader. They're either going to give you a salary range and tell you what salary they would offer, and then it's up to you to determine whether you want to be in that salary range or you don't want to be in the salary range. And they may ask you what salary range are you looking for? And then you have to figure out, well, how do you want to answer that? So there's a lot of different ways that you can be able to get yourself in a position to where you are not feeling like you're negotiating your salary like a novice, you're negotiating your salary like an executive. The fact that you're even asking a question back already puts you up there in your salary negotiation, because most people will do what happened to my client is that they would just accept what is offered, or they would just ask the hiring manager, please help me figure out what I should get paid for this position. And that's definitely not the place that you want to be. And absolutely something leaders, I'm not going to have that on my channel. If you're watching this video or subscribe to my channel, you cannot communicate that way. This is not my desire for you. I do not want you to be that person that communicates at a lower level. I want you to communicate at a higher level, meaning you need to ask a question back, and do not let someone else figure out your salary when you need to have that salary figured out yourself. Please don't do that. If you're watching this video and watching this channel, you know I'm here to help you elevate. Okay, I want you to elevate and go to that next level. I do not want you to be like everybody else that just says, oh, okay, I'll just accept the salary. No, that's not what we do on my channel. We try to generate more income here and communicate at a higher level, because as I say, people become great by how they communicate. And so I want you, and I want to unlock their greatness in you, okay? And we're going to do that by how you're communicating. So we talked about you need to know your numbers. We also talked about you need to be able to say the salary. That's the second strategy. And third is when you're asked that question, you need to ask a question back. So those are 3 quick strategies that I wanted to share with you during this live to help you go to that next level when you're in your salary negotiation, because these strategies I'm sharing with you will help you to negotiate your salary like an executive. Now, there's a lot more strategies. As I mentioned, this is just an overview that I wanted to share with my audience very briefly live. If you want to go into more detail on the strategies, first, just check out my YouTube video. It talks about negotiate your salary like a boss. It is a longer video, but it has some really good information in there in terms of going into more of the details in terms of the numbers and how you figure that out when you go into your strategy negotiate, your salary negotiation. The second resource I'll share with you, and before I go into that, I will make sure I put the link to that video in the description as soon as I get off the live, so you all have access to that. The second resource I have for you is a masterclass. It is a masterclass that is solely, completely only focusing in on salary negotiation. There's nothing else we talk about besides salary negotiation. So if you really want to have a deeper dive, then check out the masterclass on my website. The link is in the description below. And then of course, your third resource is me. Contact me for a strategy session. The link is in the description below. At the moment, it is a complimentary call where we can just have a discussion very briefly for about 15-20 minutes about where you are, perhaps what you're struggling with salary negotiation, and I will provide you with some insight if I feel like I can support you and help you be able to negotiate your salary. What I found with my clients that I work with when it comes to their salary negotiations is that I'm there real time with them. They let me know when it's going to happen. I'm here to support you and help you on your journey. One bonus I want to give to you all before we wrap up on the live today is that you need to be prepared to talk about salary at all times, every time. Even if it's your first interview or it's a phone screen, you need to be prepared to talk about salary all the time. I cannot tell you, leaders, how many times I have actually interviewed candidates that are higher level individuals that I ask them a question about their salary and they do not know what they want to have as a salary. This is something that I want you all to start doing today. Be prepared to talk about money at all times. You may think, why? I'm just going in for an interview. No, you have no idea where this interview is going to go. The interview could go into salary, and then you don't want to be caught off guard, because that one time that you're caught off guard will be the one time they ask you about salary and you give them a salary that is not where you want to be. This is why people stay stuck in their careers and stuck in their salaries and not happy in their roles, because they are working at a job at a salary that is not beneficial to them. And I don't want you to be like that. I don't want you to be like that. There's ways to work around this, leaders. There's ways to work around it. And the way to work around it is to learn how to negotiate salaries. And how you do that is by becoming more concise. Definitely work on your executive presence and communicate like an executive. This is what I talk about on my channel. And if you're still with me now, I appreciate you being here. I want you to know that if you're really trying to go to that next level, communication is the key. How you communicate, the way you communicate, what you do with your verbal and nonverbal gestures, it really does matter. And it especially matters in a salary negotiation. It absolutely matters then. So if you're trying to get more income and make more money for your family, or make more money so you can transition into something else, into your businesses, maybe you're working with partners and you need to negotiate, then absolutely reach out to me. I'll be happy to support you on your journey. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have topics specifically that you want to learn more about, then put them in the comments below. Even if you're watching the replay now, put them in there. I will do videos just for you, and I will give you a shout out in the video as well. Anything professional related as it relates to communicating at a higher level, salary negotiations, interviewing, public speaking, handling difficult conversations, controlling your emotions under pressure, your tone of voice, thinking on your feet, all of these topics I can support you in and do live videos for you. So let me know in the comments below what you want to learn more about. And I appreciate you all so much for being here. Our channel is growing quite a bit, and I really appreciate you being supportive, and I want to be able to support you. So please let me know what you want to learn more about. Just put them in the comments below, and I look forward to talking to you all in the next video. Bye for now.